Okay, let's dive in. When you think pineapple, you probably think, tropical beaches, maybe that controversial pizza thing.
Huh, yeah, or just a sweet treat.
Exactly, just a sweet fruit. But what if there's actually a lot more going on inside that spiky skin? Like real health secrets that most of us miss.
Well, that's what we're digging into today.
Hmm.
And our source material is really interesting. It comes from a blog, someone who faced some pretty serious health issues, diabetes, hypertension, the whole lot.
Wow.
Yeah, and they found that changing their diet, specifically incorporating pineapple in a focused way,
Mhm.
made a huge difference. So our mission here is to unpack their journey, their research, just
Yeah.
specifically focusing on dietary fiber and this enzyme called bromelain.
And how they might actually help with things like digestion, maybe even weight management.
Exactly, based on what this one source discovered and shared.
Okay, so let's challenge that just a tasty treat idea. We're going to break down what makes pineapple special, how this source suggests getting the most benefit, and maybe how it connects to your own health goals.
Sounds good.
All right, first up, fiber. Everyone talks about fiber for health. The source says pineapple's full of it. But, lots of foods have fiber. What's special about pineapple's fiber, according to this blog?
That's a great question. The key thing the source highlights is that pineapple contains both soluble and insoluble fiber. And that combination is, well, pretty powerful.
Okay, both types. How do they work differently?
So the source explains soluble fiber dissolves in water, forms this kind of gel. Think of it like it slows down digestion a bit, makes you feel fuller for longer.
So that helps with not overeating, appetite control.
Precisely.
Hmm.
Big win for managing intake, as the source points out.
Yeah.
Then you've got the insoluble fiber. That's the stuff that doesn't dissolve.
The roughage.
Kind of, yeah. As bulk, helps things move through your digestive system smoothly.
Hmm.
The source talks pretty directly about how this helps with regularity, preventing constipation.
Okay.
And they even suggest that improved regularity might, help you feel a bit lighter, maybe even notice a difference around the lower belly area.
Right, so it's not just feeling full, it's also keeping the system running efficiently, a sort of 1-2 punch from the fiber.
Exactly. The source really presents this fiber blend as like a cornerstone of pineapple's benefits for anyone focused on diet or just better digestion.
Okay, interesting. But the source then talks about something else, calls it pineapple's secret weapon or hidden gem, I think, bromelain.
Yes, bromelain.
Some people might know it from cooking, right? Tenderizing meat. Why does it do that?
That actually tells you exactly what it is. Bromelain, according to the source, is a potent enzyme. Specifically, it digests protein.
Ah.
So when you put it on meat, it starts breaking down those protein fibers, making it tender. And that same action happens when you eat it.
So it literally helps us digest the protein in our meals.
That's what the source emphasizes, yeah. Especially helpful after, say, a big steak or chicken breast meal. It can really help reduce that heavy, bloated feeling you sometimes get.
That sounds useful. Less post-meal discomfort.
Definitely. But the source adds another layer. It says bromelain also seems to have anti-inflammatory properties.
Wait, really? It digests protein and fights inflammation.
Apparently so, according to this source. They suggest it might even help with things like easing joint pain. It kind of broadens the scope beyond just digestion.
That is a bigger deal than just tenderizing meat. That's quite a combination.
It is. And while the source mentions that other fruits, like papaya or kiwi, have their own enzymes, it really zeroes in on bromelain in pineapple for this dual effect, the protein breakdown and the anti-inflammatory potential. Yeah. It's framed as a really key part of pineapple's health profile.
Okay, so pineapple's got this great fiber blend and this powerhouse enzyme, but you got to pick a good one first, right? How do you do that? The source mentioned the author had some retail experience.
Yeah, they offer some very practical tips based on that experience, actually. First, look at the color. You want about a third to maybe two-thirds of the skin to be turning yellow, starting from the bottom. All green means likely unripe. Too many brown spots or soft patches, probably overripe.
So aim for that Goldilocks zone of green to yellow.
Exactly. Then, smell the bottom. It should have a strong, sweet, tropical scent. That's a really good sign.
Not sour.
Definitely not sour. The source says a sour smell means it's probably fermenting. Avoid those.
Okay, sniff the base. Got it. What else?
The leaf test. Try gently pulling a leaf from the very center of the crown.
Uh-huh.
If it comes out fairly easily with a gentle tug, it's likely ripe.
Mm-hmm.
If you have to really yank it, it needs more time.
Simple enough. Easy pull means good to go.
And lastly, feel and wait. Give it a gentle squeeze. It should yield just slightly, not be rock solid, and it should feel heavy for its size.
Heavy means juicy.
That's the idea, yeah. Heaviness usually means lots of juice, good flavor, and likely packed with all those compounds we're talking about.
Makes sense. Picking a good one probably makes sticking with healthy eating easier, too, if it actually tastes great.
Absolutely. Enjoyment is key.
So, once you've got your perfect pineapple, how should you eat it? The source gets specific here, especially regarding diet. Is there a right time or way?
Yes, the source is pretty clear on this. The main recommendation is to eat pineapple after a meal, like a dessert.
After. Why not before?
Two main reasons given. First, eating it on an empty stomach can cause a quicker blood sugar spike because of the natural sugars. Second, it's quite acidic.
Ah, okay.
Eating it on an empty stomach might irritate your stomach lining. Having other food in there first acts as a buffer.
Right, that makes sense. Avoid the sugar rush and the potential stomach ache.
Exactly. And another really crucial point the source makes. Go for fresh pineapple, not canned.
Why is that? Convenience is tempting.
It comes back to bromelain. That enzyme is very sensitive to heat. The canning process involves heat.
Which destroys the bromelain.
Largely, yes.
Ugh.
Or it significantly reduces it. Plus, the source points out canned pineapple is usually packed in sugary syrup. Loads of extra sugar and calories you probably don't want.
Okay, that's a clear takeaway. Fresh is best for the benefits. No shortcuts with the can.
Right. And get this, the source says don't throw away the core.
The hard bit in the middle. Seriously.
Seriously. It's tough, yeah. But according to the source, it's actually more concentrated in both fiber and bromelain than the juicy flesh.
Wow, I had no idea. I always cut that out.
Most people do. But the source suggests blending it into smoothies or juices, or maybe chopping it finely and adding it to cooked dishes like stir-fries or broths where it can soften. Don't waste that powerhouse part.
Mind blown. Okay, definitely trying to use the core from now on. But even with all this good stuff, the source brings up moderation, right? That phrase, too much isn't good either.
Exactly. It's about balance. The source does highlight a few potential downsides or things to be mindful of.
Like what?
Well, mainly due to the acidity. Eating a lot of pineapple, especially if your stomach is empty, can cause heartburn or general upset for some people.
Okay, listen to your body.
And that same acidity can be tough on tooth enamel over time. So the source recommends a simple fix. Just rinse your mouth with plain water after eating pineapple.
Good tip, protect the teeth. Are there specific people who need to be more careful?
Yes, the source lists a few groups. Diabetics. Because of the natural sugar, portion control is important. The source suggests maybe 1-2 slices and always after a meal to buffer the sugar absorption.
Makes sense.
People with existing stomach issues like ulcers or gastritis.
Yeah.
The acidity can be irritating, so definitely avoid it on an empty stomach and maybe stick to very small amounts, if at all.
Right.
And people with allergies. It's not common, but some individuals can react to pineapple, getting like an itchy mouth or skin rash. If that happens, stop eating it, obviously.
So these are just cautions, not never eat pineapple rules. It's about knowing your own situation.
Precisely. Mindful consumption based on the fruit's properties and your health.
Now, the source also mentions something about team play foods that work well with pineapple, creating synergy.
Yeah, I like that idea. They suggest a few pairings where the combination might boost the benefits.
Oh, like what?
Okay, first, chicken breast. Makes perfect sense, right? The bromelain helps tenderize the chicken and aids protein digestion. Great combo.
That's a classic pairing for a reason, then.
Seems so. Second, plain yogurt. The source calls this an Avengers-level team-up for gut health.
Ahaha, why?
Pineapple's fiber plus yogurt's probiotics, a double whammy for supporting good gut bacteria.
Nice. Fiber and probiotics together.
And third, nuts. Adding some nuts, like almonds or walnuts, provides healthy fats and texture. This ups balance of the meal, increases satiety, makes you feel full longer alongside the pineapple.
Those are really practical ways to work pineapple into meals, not just eat it plain, enhancing the benefits.
Exactly, moving beyond just the food itself.
Okay, the source also tackled some common questions in an FAQ section. Let's hit those.
Yeah.
The big one. Does pineapple actually make you lose weight?
The source says pretty clearly, no, not directly. It doesn't magically burn fat.
So no miracle weight loss fruit.
Afraid not. The source suggests its role is indirect. The fiber helps with satiety, potentially leading you to eat less overall. The bromelain helps with efficient digestion. But it's part of a balanced diet, not a standalone solution. The source specifically warns against those pineapple-only diets. They're unbalanced.
Right. It's a helper, not the whole solution. Okay, what about that tingly mouth feeling some people get?
Ah, yes. That's the bromelain again.
Yeah.
It's literally starting to break down the proteins on the surface of your tongue and mouth.
Whoa.
It's temporary and harmless, the source reassures.
Yeah.
If it bothers you, they suggest soaking slices in salt water briefly, or even slight heating, which reduces the enzyme's activity.
Salt water or heat. Good to know. And we touched on this, but just to confirm, canned pineapple really not as good.
According to the source, definitely not for these specific health benefits. The heat treatment knocks out most of the bromelain, and you often get a lot of added sugar from the syrup. Stick to fresh.
Got it. Fresh is king, and the core, can you really eat it?
Yes. And the source recommends it. It's tougher, sure, but packed with more fiber and bromelain. Blend it, chop it finely into cooked dishes. Find a way, don't waste it.
Okay, challenge accepted. How much pineapple is reasonable daily?
The general guideline from the source is around 100 to 200 grams for an adult. That's like 2 or 3 standard slices. Again, moderation is key, especially watching the sugar if you have diabetes.
Right. And finally, what about pineapple vinegar? Any good?
The source suggests it can be beneficial. It has organic acids from fermentation, which might help metabolism or fatigue. But check labels carefully.
Why?
Many commercial ones have a lot of added sugar. And, like any vinegar, dilute it with water before drinking to protect your teeth and throat.
Good advice. Check for hidden sugars and dilute.
So, to kind of wrap up the main points from this source, pineapple's real value seems to lie in that fiber duo soluble and insoluble for fullness and digestion, plus that unique enzyme bromelain working on protein and inflammation.
And how you eat it matters.
Big time. After meals, preferably. Fresh, not canned. And try using that core. And, of course, be mindful of your own health, especially with acidity and sugar.
It's pretty amazing how this one person's health journey, documented in the source, led to such specific insights about pineapple. It really shifts it from just being, sweet to being a potentially powerful part of a healthy diet when you understand how to use it.
Yeah, those positive signals the source talks about sending to your body. Small, informed changes can make a difference.
Definitely. So maybe a final thought for everyone listening. Does understanding the why behind a food like the bromelain and fiber in pineapple change how you look at it? Does knowing the mechanism make you more likely to, say, eat the core or pair it with yogurt?
Or maybe look at other foods you eat regularly and wonder, what are their hidden superpowers?
Exactly. Something to chew on. Perhaps while enjoying some fresh pineapple after your meal, of course.